Hey everybody, welcome back to Spirituality on the Road. Just out here on the trail again. Just gonna make another video. Alright, so today's topic is the topic of thought dumping. So when you have a lot on your mind, what do, right? Do you journal? Do you write down everything you're thinking about? Do you try to process it? Do you try to meditate? Do you call a friend? Do you read a book? Do you search online forums? Do you ask ChatGPT for advice, right? Like, there's a lot of things you can do. I'm wearing my Rick and Morty shirt, by the way. I think a central theme in Rick and Morty is about there being multiple yous in multiple different universes, and nothing matters and nobody really cares, right? Rick kind of tends to take a detached approach to life and sees things as not really mattering, right? So when Morty has problems, Rick will tell him, you know, Morty, nothing really matters. There's infinite yous in multiple different universes, and nothing really matters. Nobody really cares, Morty, so we don't really want to hear about your problems, right? Yeah. So that's kind of one of the things in that show, right? This idea that there's just infinite dimensions. And if you think about it, life is kind of similar, right? Like, there's so many different choices that you can make, things that you can do, different ways to do different things, right? And makes it so that you can make different decisions and wind up with so many different outcomes that'll make your head spin. But wow, look at that sun behind me. Isn't that gorgeous? I should wait right here for the next biker to come by. Hold on. I'm just going to take a shot of it from the front. Anyway, yeah. So, I mean, you could definitely overthink any issue, right? You could just think about things to no end, and you really wouldn't come to any valid conclusion anyway. You'd just keep on going on and on, thinking around and around in circles. So sometimes it is better just to get everything out and just talk about what's on your mind, you know? Right now, I'm going to do that a little bit within reason, you know, for a relatively short video. So, you know the drill, run and talk. All right. So, what do you do when you've got a lot on your mind? Well, right now, I'm going to be teaching pretty soon here coming up, and just got done playing a music gig today. That was kind of fun, and I've been enjoying life a lot, actually. So it's been pretty cool. Let's try another angle here. Yeah, I've been enjoying life a lot, so it's actually pretty cool. A lot of things have been shaping up. I found some people to help me with the nonprofit, and okay, we're gonna take a little break as we get back on the trail here. Hear that music? This is like a corridor. This whole part is like one big long hallway. So yeah, there's lots of ways to do it, right? There's a lot of ways to get your thoughts out. Journaling is actually really good because you can just write down everything. You can just write down everything that you're thinking about. So I feel like that's a really good way to do things. But journaling isn't always available for whatever reason. Like, I can go on my iPhone and just like dictate speech to text and journal, you know, to no end if I want. But even that is not always available for me. Something like this is really great though, because I get out into a trail and, you know, relatively speaking, there's not very many people around. There are people that come. I've been running on the bike trails because it's the only terrain that goes for like a long distance. And I've always been biking on these trails, so I know them really well. The woods also offer a shelter from the sun a little bit because it's not quite sunset yet, so it's also nice to have that around this time. And this is the beginner trail, so there really isn't a lot of people on it, but there still are some people. So yeah, so today after my music gig, I fell asleep for a little while, and I was, you know, listening to, I think it was a video from Adam from Psych to Substance, and he was talking about having done TRT for like, I think 4 years. And I fell asleep while I was listening to it, but I just remember like waking up and skipping back to a part because I thought, well, let me rewind because I missed a lot. And eventually I found, and so the topic that it came to was, he was talking about how his impulsivity was like super high because he couldn't control his, fits of anger and stuff, which is pretty common for people when they take that. I have never. I wouldn't, I don't look like it, I don't think. Just like a regular dude, skinny guy, so, but, and I don't think I would consider it because I already have enough, energy, too much, I think, to the point where it's just not a good idea for me to add to my energy. But, at 41 years old, I probably could go to the doctor and have my levels checked, right? I don't think I'm going to do that, though. But it was interesting to hear somebody talking about that, and I often wonder, like what imbalances, nutritional imbalances, hormonal imbalances, gut health kind of issues that people have and stuff, where maybe they, aren't doing a proper diet to where it's good for their gut health. Like stuff like that can affect a lot when it comes to how we act, think, and behave, and feel, and the list goes on, right? And when you really think about it, holistic health plays such a large role in helping people actively manage conditions and be better versions of themselves. And, if you've got a good healthcare practitioner, they're going to look at your health holistically. Love nature. I have found that, if you take a holistic approach to your own well-being, right? Like, so I don't just say health, right? You can look at it as overall general well-being and just say, okay, so I want to be well, right? So what kind of an approach should I take to overall wellness? Well, should I take a holistic approach, or should I just kind of just look at certain things and ignore everything else, right? Right? So that's like an easy way to find like a quick, like logical, like, it's just a way to be able to sense what the answer is to that question. Like anyone, even a young child, could tell you, like, no, you should look at everything. You shouldn't ignore things, If you have a big open cut on your leg, you shouldn't just leave it and focus on your gut health, right? Like, you should probably focus on both. First get that leg treated, and then, address your gut health if you're having issues with digestion or something like that. So yeah, just stuff like that where it's like, a lot of times, like with a lot of things, I'll find that people don't necessarily have the same viewpoint as I do, or they don't, I'll find something that works for me. Like even just when it comes to my music stuff or whatever, I've played music since I was a little kid, and like I just recently figured out that if I have the action like super low on my bass to where it's easy to press down the strings, I can do all kinds of crazy slapping and stuff and percussive and rhythmic stuff without really having to, like it's more accurate. Like everything I do just makes the sound I want it to make, and I don't ever miss the sound, like where I don't press it hard enough or slap it just right. Like everything just comes out exactly how I want it to come out every single time. But even other bass players and people that I know are like, oh, it's no, that action's low enough, like you should be fine, like it's better to have it that way. And I'm like, me and another bass player I know have it that low. Like a lot of guys who are playing the kind of stuff I'm playing, who do it like at a really high level, have the action super low, and you wouldn't know until you get on their bass and you start playing it and you're like, whoa, that's really low action. And then you start to realize how nice it is to play with it that way. And only trouble is just like this wood that's creaking here. I'll show you. Listen. You hear that? That's that tree up there swaying. See it up there? That big tree? There it goes. That's a really big tree. See that? Even twigs are breaking off when it creaks and stuff. Super cool. There it is. Yeah, so, wood makes a creaking sound when it's moving, right? Or wood moves, basically, is another way to put it. Especially with like heat, and in Florida we have a lot of heat and humidity, so I'll adjust things on an instrument to where it's perfect, and then I'll have to turn around like several weeks later and just do the whole thing over again. And most people would just leave it how it is, and I did pretty much my whole life growing up. I left things the way they were. I played in a lot of bands growing up, and the action on my basses was kind of high in comparison, and I never cared. I always felt like it was good to build finger strength, and that it was that it helped you be a better bass player, which it does. It helps you be a better guitar player or bass player to build finger strength. And to segue into another topic, like, it also helps you to be a better person to go through adversity and difficulty, right? The more strength you build through adversity and difficulty, the better person you become, or hopefully the better person you become, and you don't become like bitter, and see the whole world as like your enemy or something, right? Like, that wouldn't be good. And there are people who do that. There's people who go through tough times and they go through adversity and difficulty. Maybe somebody does them wrong. Maybe they get in trouble, maybe they get hurt by somebody, or I don't know, just things go wrong in their life and they become bitter. This is kind of common with people as they age. You get a lot of older people who are bitter and, stubborn and stuck in their ways, and kind of the word ornery. It's kind of and it's not really an antiquated word, but I don't hear a lot of young YouTubers using the word ornery, right? But just, like somebody's got something stuck in their foot all the time or something, just like in a bad mood pretty much perpetually. And there are people like that. And you have to be careful not to let that happen to you, because, if you're young right now, it's you take for granted this idea that you're always going to feel optimistic about things. It's easy to pick yourself back up, when you haven't gone through failure that many times. A new opportunity presents itself and you feel like this is the one. Now everything's going to be great. Now that this is going on, like, my whole life's going to be perfect now. I got it. I'm set, I'm set. Like, I got it made now. Everything's perfect. This is, I'm just going to do this, whatever the job is, right? I'm just going to do this and I'll be good, Some time goes on and you start to see situations and circumstances for what they really are, The rose-colored glasses start to lose their coating, and you start to realize, hey, this is just life. I had a friend tell me once, there is no normal life, just life. He had a tattoo on his arm that said that, and I thought that was such a deep, I felt like it was pretty deep, honestly, and I still do, because if you go through a lot of things, I think he was a cancer survivor, a 2-time cancer survivor, and he worked through chemo, so yeah, that was a tough guy. Tattoo that said, there is no normal life, just life. I think that's true. And once we realize that, you can really just stop having this expectation that everything has to be perfect in order for you to enjoy your life, or in order for it to be a good life, right? And it just made me realize, like, I'm lucky. That I'm lucky to have the resources and the blessings that I do available to me, and I'm able to, I've got food to eat every day. I've got enough money in the bank to manage. It's not, as much as I'd like it to be, but that's, that changes from time to time depending on what type of work I'm doing or how I'm, approaching life and things. But my needs are met, and I'm in a beautiful park having a walk right now. It's a little overexposed. In a beautiful park having a walk right now, and just enjoying nature and enjoying my surroundings. And so just thinking about things like that, right? Like, I made another video about reframing things. for perspective, so that you can shift your perspective, right? And just being like, how could I change today? As a matter of fact, I'm going to think about it. Let's think out loud here. And I'm going to run for the last portion of this video. So how can I reframe things so that I can shift my perspective, right? Right now, I can choose to be grateful. I can be grateful that I can even manage to go for a run because I'm healthy enough to do so, right? I can be appreciative of the people in my life. So when I get off this trail, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna tell my wife that I appreciate her, give her a big hug. And then I'm also gonna appreciate the ability to work on things and get things accomplished. So after that, I'm gonna go work on some lesson plans, and I'm gonna be grateful for the ability to do so. And therefore, I'm gonna push myself and do the best I can and get it all done. All of it. And it's a lot, by the way. So, yeah. I think that does it for the thought dump. Cheers, and try this sometimes, you guys. Any way that you can. Transmute your circumstances and make them into what you want them to be. Cheers. Love nature.